Okay, folks, now that I've attempted to clean this spreadsheet up a little bit for you, let me explain how this works now and again. First of all, I want to tell you, this is how we're going to just kind of go over this briefly. We're going to have I'll go over a little bit more information about it later. But the main thing I want to say today is, starting off, I used to make $40,000. Now I claim $20,000. The spreadsheet also goes into someone making kind of a monthly disability pay of $7,600. And it says, this is kind of their at the end of the month pay. And this is kind of, if you think about it, this is kind of really true. This is kind of where we come out at the end of the month. I mean, I can see a lot of my friends that are making 40, 50, 60, and even some of them that are making 6 digits are all coming out at the end of the month, kind of around the same area, kind of, being broke. Everybody's still broke. And if you want to understand and know why, this graph I want to show you, because it calculates your budgets, things like that, and all your expenses. It even goes into a lot of detail about all your other expenses. But those aren't the ones that we want to focus on for this conversation. For this conversation, I just want to kind of go over some basic things to, again, try to change your perspective. Earlier I asked you what should be your biggest asset. What should be the biggest thing, maybe the most valuable thing in your life. And again, I want to tell you, the most valuable thing in your life, friends, should be you. You have to invest that time in yourself. Then you can invest your time in the family, friends, things like that. But what I'm saying with that is that we spend a lot of time in this area here with our cars and our, all those extra things that Americans ask you to enjoy. And we really fail to spend the time in ourselves and in our education that we should be. This spreadsheet kind of goes into, your expenses and how they go up, as your income goes up. So those expenses go up proportionately. Now, the difference in that, let me tell you something. The first $20,000 of your, and just bear with me, fam, bear with me. This is some good stuff here. The first $20,000 of your income is not taxable around that for this. And this is kind of based on when I was a single father with 2 kids. So since the first $20,000 isn't taxable, not only is this not taxable, here's where the big story is in that earned income credit. That earned income credit. The government kind of wants everyone to be up around $25,000, $26,000. You know what I'm saying? That's above poverty. And, don't hate on those, folks that aren't kind of paying those taxes. Because that's kind of the government's fee for, hey, you got to live here. You got to follow the rules. All right, fine. You can make $20,000 to do that, and then you don't have to worry about anything. And that's where it shows that on this graph. Not only is our expenses that we've kind of accumulated and based on our income, not only have our expenses brought us all the way down to, very little at the end of the month, that earned income credit helps a lot of people a great amount around tax time. Now, if they can save it up, that's great. Something else about this is I want to show real quick. If you wonder, when you do make this kind of money, because this is where everybody's kind of at, around that $20 to $30 an hour range, $40. This is all. This is the America that's kind of paying for everybody, folks. You're the kind of ones that are paying for the whole rest of the kit and the caboodle. Your guys don't want to pay for anything. And like I said, this is the way it works out. Now, the way it works is now your boss, say if you're going to go from making maybe 18 or so up to 20,000, your boss wants you to get more, that's a big pay raise, 18 to 20,000. Of course, you're going to take on more responsibilities. All of these numbers are going to then start to change. You're in a whole different bracket then, whole different group. All these numbers go up. That's kind of the way the graph works. Now here, this number goes down. That earned income credit number goes down. Your taxes go up, and you get further and further away from that buffer, that $20,000 buffer that you had from not paying taxes. So we go all the way up. There, because your expenses are going up now. And if you kind of look, those main expenses at 40,000 was 750. Now we're up to 850. So now we kind of go up, based on our money we make. We kind of go out. Let me tell you something. In the way, the basic thing I want to tell you, most of us get a pay raise, and we think it's a pay raise. It's also an expense raise. That's what I want to explain to you. A pay raise should be a savings raise. Because if you turn it into a savings raise and you can still kind of live over here in this area, then you win, my friend. Then you win. Then you double this money. Then you learn how to take control of your life. That's what I try to get to people. This is where I live. I've lived here. I've lived even 4 times that amount. And I've seen the only thing these people want is more money. More expenses, more money. And that's not the way to happiness. Ask anybody that's happy with, and with money. Ask anyone with money. The only thing they're telling you is, hey, if you could not be happy without money, being happy with money isn't going to help you. We're going to let's go down here for a minute, fam. All right, I just want to get you the basic understanding is how the numbers work against you or for you. Just know your numbers. Know your numbers. That's what. Talk to your financial advisor, get a budget, and you're wondering why at the end of the month you have no money after paying all your bills. All right, we'll go into it a little bit later about this spreadsheet. I also want to talk to our folks, like I said, up to that first $20,000, you pay no taxes. This is kind of my earned income credit spreadsheet and tax spreadsheet. To pay your earned income credit. Look at this. For every dollar you earn, around about 2,000 or so, we're starting off with a father with 2 kids, the government pays you 50 cents. So if you're someone that's disabled, and you're making $2,500, or you're someone that's on the system, you're making $2,500, claim that money. Look at how this works. You make $3,000, the government gives you $1,300. $4,000, you're getting off of assistance. The government is going to pay you to get a little bit higher. You're going to get off of public assistance if you can find some way of claiming, a couple $100 a month. Here we go, a couple $100 a month at a time. Then they give you another $100. You work your way up into getting off of assistance, fam. That's what I'm trying to explain to you, because the government will help you get there. Now, if you're making $9,000, and as I said, the first up until about 20 is tax-free. And so if you got an employee or a worker or a family member that can pay you to clean their house, to do whatever else, so that you can get that extra few $3,000-$4,000, if you out on some kind of washing cars, whatever you do, claim your money, write it up, keep expenses of it. Because if you go cleaning for Miss Mary, and she pays you $1,000 over that year, the government's going to give you an extra $500. So especially if you have kids, that's one of the things I want to tell you guys. If you're working part-time and you only work half the year, the way I did it out is a couple years of my life, I was only working half the year. So, for different reasons, maybe moving or something else like that. So instead of going and trying to come all the way down here, which that's a whole different phenom, I'll show you down there. Instead of trying to get all the way to down there to 40, 50,000, I says, okay, I know my numbers. I know the government's going to help me out. Let me go back to school. Let me invest some time into me. So that's what I want to tell you. Let me invest some time into me. Be able to make changes. The final question is, I want to ask you, the last time you made a big change in your life, why did it come about? Was it a move, a boss change, a spouse, or relationship? The last time you made a big change in your life? The reason I'm asking you that is because most of it's changed because either the government changes us, our boss changes us, or someone else. We can't change ourselves. For some reason, we can't seem to make a change on our own. So that's what I'm trying to understand, you, and be able to change you. Now up to 49,000, we start making money again. That's when you break through that bubble. You kind of break through that bubble. You know, but most of us are between that 30 and 40,000. You know, so until you get over that bubble, you wanna kind of stay in these expenses here. You want to stay in these expenses, but and maybe invest some time into some education. Take a class. Go out and enjoy yourself. Because as I said, if you're just living this money so that you can raise these expenses, and especially all of these expenses, you know, we got to keep a car. And I'm getting into it now, folks. I'm getting into it. We got to keep a car that's in gas to get back and forth to work. So the better job we get, the better car normally we go out and get. The more rent. Rather than us staying within these expenses, all these expenses go up. Let's see how this goes up to 175. Let's go up to 40. And this is truly how this spreadsheet works, fam. Now, because we got a pay raise, we also got an expense raise. And that's how this spreadsheet actually works. And once our expenses raises, we get above that $20,000 buffer we have. Our earned income, the money the government gives us away, goes away. All those other little things like school. Now we have to pay more for school. Things like that. Guess what, fam? We're going to go ahead and go there real quick. Look at this. Cigarettes and alcohol, though. For 20,000, 40,000. Some things we just have to keep the same. So, I mean, this is kind of a realistic spreadsheet that I'm developing. And it's an app that I'm developing so we can get our budgets out there. So we know our numbers. We can know so we can learn and see, you know, compared to our luxury of life. Of course, this side, you know, these folks on this side are going to have a little bit better luxury, a little bit better way of life. But really and truly, look, your rent from $788, $650, not a real big deal. I mean, this is our little town, so our little town isn't very expensive. But that's not a huge difference, though. Not a huge difference at all. Our utilities, $180, and we're on an energy program, a budget program at $100. And the government's going to help you out with that also. Fam, you need to focus on yourself. Focus on being the best you can be. And I have one more last little quote, you know, one more last little story. I had a friend of mine, because I've had some garages, you know, broken into and the people stole some tools from me. And he said, well, that's your livelihood. You got to lock that stuff up. And what I'm trying to tell you, friends, is you are my livelihood. My family is my livelihood. So when those tools got stolen from me, when that garage got broken into, what I try to tell you, I increased my livelihood. I increased my livelihood. There's those whatever. I ain't gonna start them, you know, fools, whatever else that broke in there. You know, may have, you know, taking a little something that God gave me. And then God, you know, gave back to them or whatever, or someone. But me not letting it get to me and eat me up, increase the love. Increase the love tenfold, fam. Increase the love. And that's where I'm going to take. That's where I'm going to take away for my life. Get off the video games. Go out and do something with yourself. There's too many things to learn in life. You know, what's your legacy going to be? If you want your legacy to be sitting there playing video games, that's cool. That's all groovy. That's on you. But you're going to do that for 20, 30 years? If not, start developing yourself. You know, it's not about the money. It's really not about the money unless you can really break that bubble. So unless you go back to school and college or start a business or spend that time developing you're not going to get there. Let me show you my app and get it out to you, because you're not going to get there, fam. So let me tell you something. You and developing yourself and getting to know yourself should be your biggest #1 asset. Take care, fam.